The crystalline spires of Therian Prime caught the light of 3 suns, casting rainbow patterns across the biogardens that covered the planet's surface. Counselor Vareth stood in the council chamber, his compound eyes reflecting the beauty of a world that had known peace for 12 generations. The Therian Collective had built something remarkable across 4 star systems, a civilization where 4 insectoid species lived in perfect harmony, sharing knowledge and resources without conflict or competition. Vareth's species. The Velkari had contributed their mastery of biotechnology. The Shreen brought agricultural innovations that could make any world bloom. The Nixtar offered their understanding of energy systems. The Kurveth provided architectural genius. Together, they had created a society that valued balance, cooperation, and the gentle progress of shared wisdom. War was something they studied in historical archives, a primitive phase that civilized species outgrew. That morning, everything changed. The defense network detected ships entering collective space without permission. Vareth watched the displays as hundreds of vessels appeared, their dark hulls bristling with weapons that seemed designed for one purpose only: destruction. The Therians sent diplomatic greetings in 17 languages. The response was a plasma barrage that vaporized the outer defense stations in seconds. The Kryn Dominion had arrived. Vareth had read about them in intelligence reports, a reptilian empire that had conquered 6 neighboring civilizations in the past decade. The reports described them as ruthless, efficient, and completely uninterested in negotiation. The Therian Council had dismissed the threat, believing their distance from Kryn space and their lack of strategic resources would keep them safe. They had been terribly wrong. General Voss commanded the Kryn invasion fleet. His image appeared on every screen across Therian Prime, his scaled face twisted in what might have been a smile. The Therian Collective has been evaluated and found wanting. Your soft philosophy, your peaceful ways, your obsession with balance and harmony, these things make you weak. We will take your worlds, your resources, and your population. You will serve the Dominion, or you will cease to exist. Resistance is both futile and foolish. The Therian defense fleet launched to protect their homeworld. They had ships designed for exploration and research, vessels with sophisticated sensors and efficient engines. They had shields meant to protect against cosmic radiation and asteroid impacts. They had never built weapons intended to kill. Their defensive systems were designed to disable, not destroy. To give attackers time to reconsider their actions, the Kryn had no such reservations. Their weapons tore through Therian shields like tissue paper. Ships that had traveled between stars for centuries exploded in brilliant flashes. Captains who had never trained for combat tried desperately to coordinate defensive maneuvers. But they had no experience with an enemy that wanted complete annihilation. Within 2 hours, the Therian defense fleet was scattered, wreckage floating in orbit. Vareth watched from the council chamber as Kryn landing craft descended toward the cities. He saw the biogardens burning. He heard the screams echoing through communication channels as ground forces swept through population centers. The Kryn were not interested in occupation strategy or resource management. They were sending a message to the entire galaxy through overwhelming brutality. The council made the painful decision to evacuate. There was no point in dying heroically when survival meant preserving their species and culture. Vareth helped coordinate the escape, directing civilian ships toward the outer colonies while knowing that many would not make it. Kryn fighters hunted refugee vessels like predators chasing prey. Some escape ships exploded. Others were captured. A few, just a few, managed to jump too faster than light speed and flee the system. Vareth's ship was among the survivors. He stood in the cargo bay with 300 refugees, watching through the small viewport as Therian Prime grew distant. The planet that had been the jewel of their civilization was now a smoking ruin. The Kryn were broadcasting their victory across all frequencies, showing footage of destroyed cities and captured Therian citizens being marched into labor camps. General Voss announced that the other 3 collective worlds would fall within days. In the following week, Vareth received fragmentary reports from the other systems. The Kryn advanced with terrifying speed. The Shreen agricultural world tried to surrender peacefully, offering food and cooperation. The Kryn enslaved the population and burned the gardens for sport. The Nixstar energy stations attempted to negotiate, proposing resource-sharing agreements. The Kryn executed the negotiators and claimed the stations. The Kurveth architectural world evacuated entirely, abandoning their masterpiece cities to the invaders. Vareth gathered the surviving council members through secure communication channels. They met virtually, each broadcasting from a different refugee ship scattered across space. Former Counselor Thresh spoke first, her mandibles clicking with distress. We have lost everything. Our worlds, our people, our entire civilization is collapsing. What can we possibly do? We have no military, no weapons, no experience with warfare. We could surrender, suggested Counselor Prin. Perhaps if we serve them peacefully, they will allow our people to survive. But everyone knew the truth. The Kryn did not value peaceful service. They valued domination and fear. Surrendering would only postpone the inevitable destruction. Vareth had been reviewing old archives during the journey, searching desperately for any option they had missed. He found something in the historical records that made him pause. 37 years ago, the Therian Collective had made first contact with a species called humans. The encounter had been brief and ultimately dismissed as unimportant. He played the old recordings for the council. The humans had seemed eager to establish relations, offering cultural exchanges and trade agreements. But the Therian observers had filed reports describing humanity as chaotic and inefficient. Humans wasted enormous resources on entertainment, art, and emotional expression. They maintained massive military forces despite living in relative peace. They formed attachments to individuals rather than prioritizing collective good. Their decision-making seemed driven by feelings rather than logic. The council had concluded that humanity represented an earlier stage of development, species still struggling with primitive impulses. The Therian had politely declined deeper contact, suggesting they might reconnect in a few centuries when humans had matured. The humans had seemed disappointed but accepting. No further communication had occurred. I remember this, Counselor Thresh said. We thought them too backward to offer meaningful partnership. Their military obsession disturbed us. We believed species that glorified warriors and soldiers were stuck in evolutionary dead ends. Vareth felt the weight of his species' arrogance. We were wrong. We judged them for having what we lacked. They maintain military forces because they understand threats exist. They value warriors because they know peace must sometimes be defended. We dismissed them for being prepared while we chose to be vulnerable. The council debated through the night cycle. Some argued that humanity would refuse to help after being rejected. Others pointed out that human military technology was decades behind Therian advances. So what good could they do against the Kryn? A few suggested that seeking help from anyone was beneath the dignity of the collective. Vareth listened to the arguments and felt something he had never experienced before: shame at his own people's pride. We have no dignity left to preserve. We have no military options. We have no allies who can help us. The humans are our only chance, not because they are the best choice, but because they are the only choice. If they refuse us, we die. If they help us and fail, we die. But at least we will have tried something other than accepting extinction. The vote was close. But the council authorized Vareth to travel to Earth and request assistance. He took the fastest ship available, a small scout vessel with limited supplies. The journey would take 6 days. 6 days, while the Kryn continued their conquest. 6 days while his people suffered in labor camps or died trying to escape. 6 days to practice a speech that seemed impossible to deliver. How do you ask for help from those you once rejected? How do you admit that your entire philosophy was flawed? How do you confess that you dismissed someone as primitive because they understood harsh truths you chose to ignore? Vareth composed and deleted 100 different messages. Nothing seemed adequate. On the 5th day, received news that the Kryn had begun systematic destruction of Therian cultural sites. They were erasing libraries, burning historical records, demolishing monuments that had stood for thousands of years. General Voss announced this was necessary to break the Therian spirit, to teach them that their old civilization was gone forever, and only the Dominion mattered now. Vareth watched the footage of his species' heritage burning and felt something that Therian rarely acknowledged. Hatred. Not the mild disapproval of something inefficient, but deep. Burning hatred for those who destroyed beauty simply because they could. He wondered if this was what humans felt. This fire in the chest that made you want to fight back even when logic said fighting was pointless. Earth appeared on his sensors, a blue and green world orbiting a yellow star. Vareth sent a standard diplomatic hail, expecting to wait hours or days for a response. Instead, an answer came within minutes. Therian vessel, this is Earth's orbital command. We have been monitoring the Kryn situation. Medical teams and emergency supplies are standing by. Please proceed to Docking Bay 7. Welcome to Earth, they knew. Somehow they already knew about the invasion and the disaster. They had prepared to help before he even arrived. Vareth felt his compound eyes burn with an emotion the Therian usually suppressed. Hope Part 2. The human response, the human space station was smaller than Therian. Designs, but surprisingly comfortable. Vareth was escorted through corridors decorated with images of Earth's landscapes, star charts, and artwork from various human cultures. Everything seemed designed to be welcoming rather than efficient. He noticed medical teams treating other Therian refugees, speaking gently to them in adequately translated Velkari language. Commander Sarah. Chen met him in a conference room overlooking Earth. She was tall for a human, with dark hair pulled back in a practical style and eyes that seemed to assess everything while remaining kind. She bowed in a gesture Vareth recognized from the old contact files, showing that she had studied Therian customs. Counselor Vareth, I am Commander Chen of the Earth's Defense Coalition. Please sit. I know you have traveled far and carry heavy burdens. Vareth settled into the chair designed for his physiology. The humans had prepared for his arrival with remarkable attention to detail. Commander Chen, I come seeking help that we do not deserve. 37 years ago, my people rejected your offers of friendship. We judged humanity as primitive and chaotic. We dismissed your culture as inefficient and your military preparations as barbaric. We were arrogant and wrong. Sarah listened without interrupting, her expression neutral but attentive. Now the Kryn Dominion is destroying us. They have taken our worlds, enslaved our people, and are erasing our culture. We have no military capability. We have no allies. We have nothing to offer in exchange. But I am here to beg for your help. Despite having no right to ask for it, Sarah was quiet for a moment, looking out at Earth spinning below. Then she spoke in a voice that was gentle but firm. Counselor, humans have a saying. We judge people by what they do when they have power, not by what they do when they are powerless. Your people rejected us when you felt safe. That hurt, yes. But you are coming to us now with humility and honesty. That takes courage. Vareth felt relief wash over him. You will help us. Sarah smiled slightly. We will help you. Not because you deserve it or because we want something in return. We will help you because the Kryn are committing atrocities and someone needs to stop them. We will help you because your people are suffering and we have the power to do something about it. That is reason enough. But our technology is more advanced than yours, Vareth protested. The Kryn have weapons that destroyed our ships in minutes. How can you possibly stand against them? Sarah stood and activated a holographic display showing fleet compositions and tactical data. Technology is not everything, Counselor. The Kryn have better weapons than us. Yes. They have stronger shields. They have more ships. But they have something we can exploit. Arrogance. They believe mercy is weakness. They think compassion is foolishness. They assume everyone fights the way they do, for conquest and domination. She pulled up footage of human history showing battles and wars from Earth's past. Humans fight differently. We fight for each other. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. We fight not to conquer but to protect. The Kryn have never faced an enemy like us. They have never encountered warriors who consider sacrifice a strength rather than a failure. Over the next 2 days, Arath witnessed something extraordinary. Earth mobilized with purpose and efficiency. The human military prepared a fleet of 120 ships. Not as advanced as Therian technology, but armed with weapons designed for warfare. Human soldiers trained in tactics specifically developed to counter Kryn strategies. Engineers retrofitted several Therian refugee ships with human defensive systems. But what amazed Vareth most was what happened in the refugee settlements. Thousands of Therian survivors had made their way to Earth, fleeing the Kryn advance. Vareth expected the humans to provide basic necessities and nothing more. Instead, he found communities of humans and Therian working together. Human volunteers helped Therian. Children processed their trauma through art and play. Human doctors treated Therian wounded with the same care they gave their own species. Human teachers learned Valkyrie language to communicate better. Human families opened their homes to Therian refugees. Sharing meals and stories, Vareth visited one settlement where a young Therian named Kes was drawing pictures with human children. Kes had lost his entire family in the invasion. The human children did not speak his language perfectly, but they sat with him, drew with him, and made him laugh. A human woman named Maria supervised the activity. She noticed Vareth watching and approached him. "You are the counselor who came to ask for help," Maria said, sitting beside him. "My daughter is in the fleet preparing to fight the Kryn." She volunteered immediately. When she heard what was happening to your people, Vareth looked at her carefully. "You are not afraid? You do not resent us for rejecting your people decades ago?" Maria watched the children drawing together. What happened decades ago does not matter. What matters is that children like Kes have lost everything and need someone to care. What matters is that your people are suffering and we can help. My daughter fights not for revenge or glory. She fights because she believes every being deserves to live without fear. That evening, Vareth met with the human military leadership. General Marcus Stone commanded the fleet. He was older than Commander Chen, with gray hair and scars that suggested extensive combat experience. He spread tactical maps across the table, showing Kryn positions and proposed human strategies. "The Kryn control for Therian systems now," General Stone explained. "Their forces are spread thin, maintaining occupation. They expect no resistance because they crushed your defense forces so easily. That gives us an advantage. We strike fast, hit their supply lines, and broadcast messages to the enslaved populations. We show them that resistance is possible. But you are outnumbered," Vareth protested. "The Kryn have 600 ships across collective space. You have 120. The mathematics are impossible." General Stone smiled grimly. "Mathematics alone do not win wars, counselor. Morale matters. Strategy matters. Most importantly, what you are fighting for matters. The Kryn fight for conquest. My people fight for liberation. That difference makes us stronger than numbers suggest." Commander Chen added her thoughts. "We are also going to do something the Kryn will not expect. We are going to offer them a choice. Surrender peacefully and face justice, or continue fighting and face the consequences. We will broadcast this message across all channels, not just to Kryn command, but to every Kryn soldier." "What choice?" Vareth asked, confused. "They will never surrender." "Not all of them," Chen agreed. "But some might. The Kryn Empire rules through fear. Soldiers follow orders because they are afraid of punishment. If we show them an alternative, if we demonstrate that mercy is possible, some will choose differently. Even a small number of defections will create doubt in their ranks. Doubt leads to mistakes. Mistakes we can exploit." 3 days after Vareth's arrival, a message came through on all frequencies. General Voss of the Kryn Dominion appeared on every screen, his reptilian features twisted in mockery. "So the pathetic Therian have found new friends. The humans, a species so backward, they still fight among themselves. This is amusing. I will enjoy crushing your primitive fleet and adding Earth to the Dominion's conquests. Humanity will learn what the Therian learned. Weakness invites destruction." The human response came from Commander Chen herself. She broadcast on the same frequencies, her voice calm and steady. "General Voss, you mistake compassion for weakness. You confuse mercy with cowardice. Humanity does not seek conquest. We seek justice. We are coming to liberate the Therian people and to offer your soldiers a choice. Stand down and live, or continue your atrocities and face the consequences. This is your only warning." Boss laughed, a sound like grinding stone. "Humans and your empty threats. I have 600 warships. I have conquered 6 civilizations. What do you have? Hope, morality. These things do not stop plasma cannons. They do not protect against fusion missiles. When I am done with you, the galaxy will remember that kindness is for the weak and strength is all that matters." The transmission ended. Vareth looked at Chen with concern. "He will come for Earth now. You have made yourselves targets." Chen nodded calmly. "Yes, that is exactly what we want. Let him bring his fleet here. Let him waste time and resources attacking us. Every day he focuses on Earth is another day the Therian people have to organize resistance. Every ship he sends here is one less ship oppressing your worlds." "But your people will die," Vareth said desperately. "You are sacrificing yourselves for us. That is not efficient. That is not logical." Sarah Chen met his compound eyes with her own steady gaze. "No, counselor. It is not efficient or logical. It is right. That is what makes us human. We do not calculate the worth of helping based on efficiency. We help because people need help. We fight because someone needs to stand against cruelty. We sacrifice because some things matter more than survival." The human fleet prepared to depart. Vareth stood in the observation deck, watching ships move into formation. They were smaller than Kryn vessels, less heavily armed, crewed by beings who had everything to lose. Yet they moved with purpose and determination. Human families came to the station to say goodbye to their loved ones. Vareth watched a young human woman embrace her mother. It's the same Maria he had spoken with earlier. Maria noticed him watching and approached. "My daughter Rebecca is a pilot on the Defiant. She has wanted to fly since she was 5 years old. Now she flies into battle against an enemy that has destroyed civilizations." Vareth could not comprehend this. How do you let her go? How do you accept this risk? Maria's eyes were wet, but her voice was strong. "Because she would never forgive me if I stopped her. Because this is who she raised her to be, someone who stands up for others. Because I would rather my daughter die, fighting for something beautiful, than live safely while ignoring suffering." The fleet jumped to faster than light speed, heading toward the first Therian system still under Kryn occupation. Vareth remained on the station, coordinating with other Therian refugees and monitoring communications. He knew the battle would begin soon. He knew humans would die protecting his people. He knew this sacrifice might not even succeed, but he also knew something else now. He understood what the Therian had missed about humanity. Their chaos was creativity. Their inefficiency was compassion. Their emotional attachments were strength. They had built a civilization that valued every individual life, that wasted resources on art and music and joy because those things made existence meaningful. The Therian had optimized everything except what mattered most, the reasons to keep living. A message came through from Commander Chen aboard the flagship. "Counselor Vareth, we are approaching the first engagement. I want you to know that whatever happens today, humanity considers it an honor to fight alongside the Therian people. You are not alone anymore. You will never be alone again," Vareth composed his response carefully. "Commander Chen, humanity has taught me something my people forgot. Technology is worthless without purpose. Efficiency is empty without meaning. Survival is not enough if you have nothing worth surviving for. Thank you for remembering what we forgot. Thank you for being willing to die for it." The battle was about to begin. The humans were ready. And for the first time since Therian Prime fell, Baroth believed victory might be possible. The turning point, the battle for the Shrian system, began with silence. The human fleet emerged from faster and a light speed at the system's edge. Far enough from Kryn's sensors to avoid immediate detection, General Stone had planned this carefully. The Kryn expected enemies to charge directly into battle. Humans preferred patience and preparation. Vareth monitored communications from Earth's orbital station. watching through sensor feeds as the human fleet split into three groups. The main force under General Stone would draw Kryn attention. Commander Chen led a smaller group to evacuate Therian civilians from labor camps. A third team, commanded by Captain Rebecca Walker, Maria's daughter, would strike Kryn communication networks and supply depots. The strategy seemed impossibly complicated. The Therian had always believed in direct, straightforward approaches. The humans operated with layers of deception and misdirection that made Vareth's head hurt trying to follow. But he was learning that human warfare was not about simple efficiency. It was about understanding your enemy's expectations and doing the opposite. General Stone initiated contact with the Kryn Occupation Force. This is the Earth Defense Coalition to Kryn Command. We are here to liberate this system. All Kryn personnel have one opportunity to surrender peacefully. Lay down your weapons, release your prisoners, and withdraw from Therian space. This offer expires in 10 minutes. The Kryn commander, a veteran named Koroth, responded with predictable contempt. Humans, your primitiveness is stunning. You offer us surrender? You face 80 warships with your pathetic force. I will destroy you and broadcast your deaths as entertainment for the Dominion. Your compassion has made you stupid. General Stone's response was calm. Very well. You have made your choice. But know that every Kryn soldier who dies today died because you valued pride over their lives. The offer remains open to individual ships and crews. Surrender and live. Fight and face the consequences. The Kryn fleet advanced in standard formation. A wall of ships designed to overwhelm through concentrated firepower. It was the same tactic that had crushed the Therian defense forces. General Stone did not meet them directly. Instead, the human ships scattered, breaking into dozens of small groups that darted around the Kryn formation like insects. The Kryn fired, but their massive plasma cannons struggled to track the smaller, faster human vessels. Human ships returned fire with missile barrages and focused beam weapons. The damage was minimal at first, scratches on Kryn shields. But the humans were not trying to destroy the Kryn fleet. They were doing something else entirely, Commander. Chen's group reached the first labor camp on the Shreen agricultural world. Therian prisoners watched in disbelief as human soldiers stormed the facility, neutralizing Kryn guards with weapons designed to incapacitate rather than kill. A young Shreen named Tiva stumbled out of the camp, barely able to believe she was seeing rescue ships. A human medic rushed to help her, speaking in broken but comprehensible Shreen language. You are safe now. We are taking you home. Come quickly. Tiva looked at the medic with confusion. Why do you help us? Your species barely knows us. The medic smiled as she guided Tiva toward the transport ship. Because you need help. That is reason enough. Captain Walker's team struck the Kryn communication network with precision. They did not destroy it. Instead, they hijacked it. Within minutes, every Kryn soldier in the system received a broadcast. It showed footage of humans rescuing Therian prisoners. It showed Kryn guards being treated for injuries by human medical personnel. It showed former captives receiving food, water, and compassionate care. Commander Chen's voice accompanied the images. To all Kryn soldiers, you have been told that humans are weak, that compassion is foolishness, that mercy is surrender. We are proving these teachings false. We rescue the people you enslaved. We treat your wounded even as you fight us. We offer you the same choice we offer everyone. Stop fighting and live. Your commanders do not care about your lives. They do. Choose wisely. The broadcast continued, showing more footage. Human soldiers helping elderly Therian escape burning buildings. Human doctors working frantically to save both Therian and injured Kryn personnel from battle damage. Human families on Earth hosting Therian refugees, sharing meals, teaching children, rebuilding lives. In the space battle, something unexpected happened. A Kryn destroyer suddenly stopped firing. Its captain, a soldier named Threx, opened a communication channel. This is Captain Threx of the Destroyer Vengeance. I am ceasing hostilities. I request permission to speak with human command. General Stone responded immediately. Permission granted, Captain? You are welcome to negotiate terms. Threx's voice was uncertain, confused. I have watched your broadcasts. I have seen how you treat prisoners. I have seen you save our wounded. This does not match what we were told about humans. Our commanders said you would torture captives. They said you would execute survivors. Nothing they told us is true? General Stone's reply was gentle. Your commanders lied to you because the truth would make you question their orders. We do not torture. We do not execute the helpless. We fight to protect, not to conquer. If you wish to stand down, we will guarantee your safety and the safety of your crew. Commander Koruth screamed across all frequencies. Threx, you are a traitor. I will execute your entire family for this cowardice. Return to formation immediately. Threx responded quietly, but firmly. No, Commander. I will not kill for you anymore. I will not die for leaders who care nothing about their soldiers. Humans have shown me there is another way. 2 more Kryn ships ceased firing, then 5, then 12. Soldiers who had spent their entire lives following orders without question suddenly found themselves questioning everything. The broadcasts kept coming, showing human compassion in 1,000 small moments. Kryn commanders tried to block the transmissions, but Captain Walker's team had embedded the messages too deeply into their systems. On the Shreen world, Ortharian prisoners were freed. Thousands streamed toward human rescue ships. Some were too weak to walk. Human soldiers carried them. Some were injured. Human medics treated them. Some were terrified, expecting this to be a trick. Human personnel sat with them, spoke to them gently, gave them food and water and time to understand they were truly safe. Tiva found herself on a transport, a ship surrounded by other rescued Shreen. A human soldier, a young man named David, distributed ration packages. He noticed her staring at him. Is something wrong? He asked. Tiva struggled to find words. You are risking your life for us. You barely know our species. Why? David smiled. My mother taught me that everyone deserves kindness. Everyone deserves to live without fear. Your people were suffering. We could help. That makes it the right thing to do. The space battle continued, but the momentum had shifted. Kryn ships were fighting each other now, with loyalists attacking defectors. Commander Koroth tried to maintain control, but doubt had infected his fleet like a disease. Soldiers stopped trusting their commanders. Officers questioned their orders. The unity that made the Kryn Dominion powerful was fracturing. General Stone opened another broadcast, this time aimed directly at Kryn commanders. Your empire is built on a lie. You rule through fear, claiming that only strength matters. But look at what is happening. Your soldiers are abandoning you. Why? Because we showed them something better. We showed them that beings can cooperate without domination, that leaders can care about their followers, that sacrifice for others is not weakness, but the highest form of strength. Commander Koruth responded with fury. You think words will stop the Dominion? You think mercy will defeat us? I have called for reinforcements. General Voss himself comes with 300 ships. You will be crushed. Your pathetic philosophy will die with you. General Stone's voice remained calm. Then we will face them. But know this. Every ship you call here is one less ship oppressing innocent people. Every day you focus on us is another day the Therian rebuild their strength. Every soldier who sees us fight will question everything you've taught them. You cannot kill an idea with weapons. You cannot destroy hope with violence. Over the next hours, the situation in the Shreen system stabilized. Nearly half the Kryn occupation force had defected or surrendered. The remaining loyalist ships retreated to a defensive position around the largest military station. Thousands of Therian prisoners had been evacuated to safety. Human casualties were significant, but lower than predicted. Vareth watched reports coming in from the surface. Human medical teams were working alongside Therian doctors to treat the injured. Human engineers were helping repair damaged infrastructure. Human teachers were organizing activities for traumatized children. The humans had not just fought a battle. They were rebuilding an entire civilization. Commander Chen contacted Vareth, directly from the surface. "Counselor, I want you to see something." She transmitted video from a medical facility. Inside, human doctors were treating injured Kryn soldiers with the same care they gave Therian patients. One Kryn soldier, severely burned, asked why humans would help him after he had tried to kill them. The human doctor, an older woman named Dr. Patel, answered while treating his wounds. "Because you are hurt. Because you are scared. Because underneath your training and your empire's lies, you are a person who deserves compassion. What you did before this moment does not change my duty to help you now." The Kryn soldier began crying, sight Varath had never imagined witnessing. "I have killed so many. I have done terrible things in the Dominion's name. How can you forgive this?" Dr. Patel did not look away from her work. "I do not forgive or condemn. I heal. What you do after you heal, whether you return to the Dominion or choose a different path, that is your decision. But right now, you are my patient. That is all that matters." Vareth watched this exchange and felt something shift in his understanding. The humans were not just defeating the Kryn militarily. They were defeating the entire philosophy that made the Kryn Dominion possible. They were proving that compassion was not weakness, but a transformative force that could change minds and hearts. News arrived that General Voss was indeed approaching with a massive fleet. 300 warships would arrive at the Shreen system within 2 days. The human forces were exhausted from the first battle. Even with Kryn defectors joining their side, they were hopelessly outnumbered. Logic suggested retreat. General Stone called a command meeting. Vareth was invited to participate. "We have a choice," Stone said to his officers. "We can withdraw and preserve our fleet. We can try to fight and likely die. Or we can do something unprecedented." Commander Chen spoke up. "We continue doing what we have been doing. We broadcast. We show compassion. We offer choices. We prove that the Dominion's philosophy is false. But Voss will not be swayed." One of the human officers protested. "He is a true believer. He will never surrender." "Then we do not try to change Voss," General Stone replied. "We change everyone else. We show his soldiers that their general cares nothing for them. We prove that they have options. We make them choose between dying for a lie or living for something better." Vareth spoke up, his voice hesitant. "My people have hidden away while humans fight for us. That is shameful. What can we do to help?" General Stone looked at him with respect. "Tell your story, counselor. Broadcast it across the Kryn network. Tell them how the Therian dismissed humanity as primitive. How you learned you were wrong. How humans fight not from obligation but from belief in something greater. Your testimony will matter. Former enemies acknowledging their mistakes and finding redemption is powerful." Over the next 2 days, preparations intensified. More Therian prisoners were rescued from other camps. More Kryn soldiers defected as they witnessed human compassion. Vareth recorded his testimony, speaking honestly about Therian arrogance and human wisdom. The broadcast spread through Kryn communication networks faster than officers could suppress it. When General Voss arrived with his fleet, he found a situation he could not have predicted. The Shreen system was defended not by broken prisoners and a handful of human ships, but by a coalition of humans, Therian and defected Kryn, working together. His own soldiers had already seen broadcasts showing an alternative to Dominion rule. Voss transmitted his expected message, full of threats and mockery. But his words felt hollow now. He promised destruction, but his soldiers had seen humans rescue enemies. He preached strength, but his soldiers had witnessed the power of compassion. He demanded loyalty. But his soldiers had learned that leaders who truly cared for their followers, the final battle did not end with a massive confrontation. It ended with a cascade of defections that stripped Voss of his command. Ship after ship laid down weapons and requested to negotiate with human forces. Commanders who had served the Dominion for decades chose differently after witnessing something they thought impossible. An enemy who fought not to conquer but to liberate. General Voss died in his flagship. Abandoned by his crew, still screaming about strength and dominion, even as his empire crumbled around him. The Kryn Dominion did not fall to superior weapons or tactical genius. It fell because humans proved that another way was possible, that civilization could be built on compassion rather than conquest, that mercy was not weakness, but the foundation of true strength. In the aftermath, Vareth stood in a rebuilt garden on the Shreen world. Human volunteers worked alongside Therian citizens, planting new crops. Former Kryn soldiers helped construct housing, seeking redemption through service. Children from 3 species played together, their laughter echoing through air that had been filled with screams just weeks before. Commander Chen joined him, looking tired but content. We did not win because we were stronger. We won because we showed them something worth fighting for. Vareth's compound eyes reflected the sunset over the healing world. My people thought we had evolved beyond war. We were wrong. We had simply been lucky enough to avoid it. Humanity taught us that peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the daily choice to build something better. Sarah smiled. And now, what will the Therian do? Vareth watched the children playing. We will remember. We will never again dismiss other species as primitive for having wisdom we lack. We will defend what we value. We will help others as humans helped us. We will waste resources on art and music and joy because those things make civilization worth protecting. The galaxy had celebrated the Therian defeat, believing that compassion was a weakness civilizations could not afford. Then humans proved them all wrong, not with superior weapons or advanced technology, but with the simple revolutionary idea that every life mattered, that mercy was strength, and that love was the most powerful force in the universe. The war was over. The rebuilding had just begun, and humanity had rewritten the rules of warfare forever.